Hey everyone, before we dive into the story, if you're enjoying these real-life experiences and twists, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. I never imagined I'd get a message like that. Not ever. My phone vibrated on a regular Tuesday afternoon, the kind where the steady buzz of the office made everything feel secure and routine. I looked down, figuring it was something boring like a calendar alert or a work email. Anything normal. But what I saw stopped me cold. It came from a number I didn't recognize. The words were brief, almost offhand. "Did you know she's engaged to him?" My heart just quit for a second. She, my wife, Emily, was engaged to her boss. My brain couldn't catch up. At first, I convinced myself it had to be some sick prank. But the way it was worded left zero wiggle room. In one short line, everything tilted. The life I thought was solidly mine, the trust, our home together, those calm evenings side by side, felt wiped out without me even knowing. I called her right away. No answer. Not the first time, not the second. My hands were shaking. My chest felt crushed. All those recent fights flashed back. The little issues I'd brushed off. The times I'd told myself we'd work it out eventually. They rushed in all at once. And now those little issues weren't little anymore. They were a massive gap I'd completely missed until that message forced my eyes open. I drove straight to her workplace, desperate for any kind of explanation, any talk that could turn this nightmare into something understandable. But when I got there, people just gave friendly smiles, quick nods, and that careful space coworkers keep when personal mess leaks into the office. Then I spotted him, her boss, the guy whose meetings I'd sat through without a clue. The one whose role in her world I'd never second-guessed. He didn't look ashamed or sneaky. He looked satisfied, at ease, like someone who knows they're the only one holding all the cards. It slammed into me like a hit I never saw coming. I wasn't only caught off guard. I was unimportant. The life we'd built, the promises we'd made, the late-night talks and quiet commitments, it all meant nothing against this new truth. Emily had moved forward, and I was the very last person to find out. Worst of all, I learned it not from her, not in a real conversation, but from a random text that felt like the deepest kind of betrayal, leaving me without words. For the first time, I got it. Some truths don't arrive softly. They get thrown at you raw and leave you staring at your own shock. I walked through that office, every step feeling heavier, and realized the guy she'd trusted completely was now completely sidelined in her story. I couldn't stay there. Not in that building, not under their polite smiles, their quick looks, their silent agreement. I stepped outside, onto the busy street, where the city lights blurred together like the world was trying to blur the sharp edges of what I'd just learned. But no bright signs or street noise could quiet the truth. Emily had picked someone else, someone with the authority she wanted, someone who now filled the spot I thought was mine for good. The days after that were foggy. I kept replaying every talk, every disagreement. Every night I'd lain awake hoping we'd patch things up. I second-guessed myself nonstop. Had I ignored obvious warning signs? Could I have handled things differently? Then, bit by bit, things started getting clearer. This wasn't just about little slip-ups or missed moments. It was about the person she was turning into, the person she'd maybe always been deep down, and the future she wanted without me in it. I talked to friends, trying to make sense of it, trying to grasp what happened, but nobody had answers that actually helped. Every piece of advice felt like a temporary fix on a wound that needed way more. In the quiet moments, though, I started noticing something key. The rage, the pain, the stunned feeling, they were normal, but they didn't have to own me. I realized that to get through this, I had to take back control of my own life first. That's when I began focusing on the details. That message I'd gotten, the relaxed tone, the exact timing, it all clicked. She had meant for me to find out. Keeping me in the dark had been her decision. But my decisions were up to me. I could let it destroy me, or I could let it shape me into someone stronger. I chose the second. I started watching, observing her choices without letting them run my feelings. By the time the engagement went officially public, I'd already put real space between us, not through fights or blow-ups, but through calm understanding. I noticed her reactions around others, the tiny pauses, the moments when the happiness didn't quite light up her eyes. I saw that even in her new chapter, things weren't as flawless as they appeared. And that gave me a quiet kind of strength, not over her, but over myself. The night of their big engagement party felt unreal. I went, not to argue, not to win her back, not to cause a scene, but simply to see it for myself. Emily looked stunning in her dress, laughing at jokes that used to be mine, surrounded by coworkers and friends who had no clue about our shared past. And there he was, her boss, grinning wide, totally confident, fully aware he'd claimed something I couldn't fight for anymore. I stayed silent, watching from the sidelines, letting everything play out without stepping in. Every look, every chuckle, every toast she gave, none of it could touch what I'd rebuilt after the betrayal. Over the past year, I'd put myself back together quietly. The divorce left marks, sure, but it also left wisdom. I'd learned to spot real love versus something put on, true respect versus something taken for granted. That night, her engagement felt like a performance. My being there was intentional. At one moment, our eyes locked. She paused. Her smile slipped for just a split second. That tiny freeze told me everything. She saw that the guy she thought she'd left behind, the one she expected to fall apart, beg, or chase, was not only standing tall but actually doing better. I didn't smile back or nod. I just held her gaze long enough to say what words never needed to. I'd moved forward. I'd made it through. And I didn't need her validation anymore. Leaving the party that night, walking away while she stayed in the middle of her big moment, I felt freer than I had in years. The betrayal, the shock, the heartbreak, they'd all had a reason. They'd pushed me to take back my sense of self, my pride, and my independence. Emily's engagement, discovered in the most painful way possible, had turned into the spark for something much bigger than bitterness. It became freedom. From that night forward, I knew one thing for sure. Life keeps going, and anyone who tries to control your joy without your say-so will always end up in the rearview. She might have thought she was coming out on top by marrying someone with position and power. But I'd already come out ahead in ways that truly count, by getting myself back, by refusing to let her decisions define me, and by showing that real strength isn't about controlling others. It's about mastering yourself.